Most of us love honey. Use it in our meal every day. However, don't know the secret life of bee. The honeybee. Hello and welcome to Z. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell icon. Honeybee. A honeybee is a eusocial flying insect of the bee family that is endemic to Afro-Eurasia. Humans became responsible for the current international distribution of honeybees after bees migrated naturally over Africa and Eurasia, introducing various subspecies into South America, early 16th century, North America, early 17th century, and Australia, early 19th century. Honeybees are recognized for their wax-based perpetual colonial nests, vast colonies, and surplus honey production and storage, making their hives a valued forage target for many creatures, including honey badgers, bears, and human hunters-gatherers. Only 8 surviving honeybee species are recognized, with a total of 43 subspecies, despite the fact that traditionally 7 to 11 species were recognized. Honeybees are only a minor subset of the over 20,000 bee species known. The western honeybee, Apis mellifera, is the most well-known honeybee, having been domesticated for honey production and crop pollination. The eastern honeybee, Apis cerana, which lives throughout South, Southeast, and East Asia, is the only other domesticated bee. Only members of the genus Apis are true honeybees, but other types of bees, such as the stingless bees of the genus Melipona and the Indian stingless or dammer bee Tetragonula iridopenes, make and store honey and have been kept by humans for that purpose. Beeswax is also used in the manufacture of candles, soap, lip balms, and various cosmetics, as a lubricant, and in the lost wax process of mold making. Honeybees are all sociable, cooperative insects. The inhabitants of a hive are classified into 3 categories. Workers. The only bees that most people see are workers. These bees are females who have not reached sexual maturity. Workers seek for nourishment, flower pollen and nectar, build and protect the hive, clean, circulate air by beating their wings, and perform a variety of other societal activities. The monarch. The queen's task is straightforward. She lays the eggs that will hatch the hive's next generation of bees. In most hives, there is only one queen. If the queen dies, workers will produce a new queen by feeding one of the female larvae an exclusive diet of royal jelly. This elixir transforms the worker into a prolific queen. Queens also control the activity of the hive by generating chemicals that guide the conduct of the other bees. Drones. Drones are male bees, the 3rd type of honeybee. Hundreds of drones live in each hive during the spring and summer, but many are evicted during the winter months when the colony switches into survival mode. Do all bees have females? The queen bee is the only female bee in the hive who can reproduce. Worker bees are all female and are the queen's brood. However, there are men in the hive known as drones. Drones take off to procreate with other young queens, establishing a new colony. Each honeybee colony has only one queen, and every bee in the colony is her daughter or son. Queens can be identified by their enormous abdomens and the swarm of worker bees that follows her around. If a second queen arises in the colony, the workers will either drive the invading queen out of the hive or battle until only one queen remains. The fundamental function of a queen is to lay eggs. A honeybee queen lays 1,500 eggs every day on average to sustain a large colony. Honeybees begin as eggs, which hatch into larvae and eventually pupae, similar to caterpillar cocoons. The pupae then grow into the familiar fuzzy adult honeybees. It normally takes around 21 days to develop from a larva to an adult worker honeybee. What role do female bees play? Honeybee workers are all female. These workers' tasks change as they mature, similar to how we alter what we do as we age. First we stay at home, then we go to school, and finally we work. Young honeybee workers begin by caring for the queen and young larvae inside the nest. Young bees make wax from glands on their abdomens and use it to construct the nest construction. The length of time each bee spends at each job varies according to the needs of the colony. Workers usually move to outdoor tasks and take their first flight after a few weeks inside the nest. Foraging is the final task of a honeybee worker. Forager bees fly away from the colony to obtain nectar, pollen, and water. Adult honeybee foragers typically live for another 30 days after they begin foraging, for a total of 51 days. This is due to the fact that foraging is one of the most risky duties in the colony. Foragers are exposed to all of the perils of the outside world when they leave the nest. They could be attacked by predators, lose their way home, become engulfed in a windstorm, become victims of environmental diseases or pesticides, or face any number of other dangers. When worker bees burrow within the nest for warmth in the winter, they can live for more than 6 months. The life of a male honeybee, drone. Male bees are known as drones and, unlike most female bees, do not have stingers. Male bees only live for a few months of the year. With their huge eyes that surround practically their entire head, they can appear weird. Their eyes are large so that they can locate queens while flying. The only task of the male is to transmit the DNA of their colony. Every day, they leave the colony in search of potential new queens looking to mate. Behavior of honeybees. Honeybee colonies are well organized and do not require hibernation. Honeybees are often busy throughout spring, when they go in search of plants from which to collect pollen and nectar. From these two elements, they form honey, which people have gathered for hundreds of years. Honeybee age is also essential in selecting which individuals conduct certain daily duties. Honeybees are highly adaptable creatures. While honeybees search for food in groups, a colony can exist for several years without foraging by living on food stores and huddling in enormous, compacted masses during the winter. Honeybees act similarly in Africa, Asia, Europe, and other parts of the world, while certain species are known to be more aggressive than others. When intruders approach, honeybees, like some insects, defend the entrance to their nests. Honeybees, on the other hand, can only sting once. Stingers detach from the stinging bee's body after assaulting a victim because they contain barbs and are linked to the worker's intestines. While a honeybee dies shortly after delivering its venom, pheromones generated during the attack alert and motivate other worker bees to attack as well. Information about honeybees. 1. Honeybees have a crucial role in pollinating flowers, fruits, and vegetables. This means they aid in the growth of other plants. Bees carry pollen between male and female portions of plants, allowing them to produce seeds and fruit. 2. What are these buzzing insects most known for? Delectable honey. But did you know they make honey to stockpile food for the hive over the winter? Fortunately for us, these efficient little workers create 2 to 3 times more honey than they require, so we may enjoy the wonderful delicacy as well. 3. If the queen bee dies, workers will choose a young larva, a recently hatched tiny insect, and feed it a special food called royal jelly. This allows the larva to mature into a reproductive queen. 4. Honeybees are excellent flyers. They fly at about 25 kilometers per hour and beat their wings 200 times each second. 5. Each bee contains 170 odorant receptors, indicating that they have a keen sense of smell. When seeking for food, they use this to communicate among the hive and to recognize different sorts of flowers. 6. The typical worker bee lives only 5 to 6 weeks. During this period, she will produce approximately 1/12 of a teaspoon of honey. 7. The queen has a lifespan of up to 5 years. She is most active during the summer, when she may lay up to 2,500 eggs each day. 8. Honeybees are also fantastic boogiers. They do their waggle dance to communicate information about the finest food sources. When the worker returns to the hive, it makes a figure-8 motion and waggles its body to signal the location of the food supply. Isn't it cool? 9. Unfortunately, bee colonies have been declining over the last 15 years for unexplained reasons. Known as colony collapse disorder, billions of honeybees are fleeing their hives and never returning. Up to 90% of bees have perished in some areas. Thank you for being with us.